On the blasted heath, 3 weird sisters speak prophecies that will poison Scotland. Salt and peat smoke stung the air as winded horses stamped on the damp heath, the sky hung low and bruised while the faint crack of distant horns threaded the mist. In that cold, a woman's whisper promised a crown, an impossible thought that settled in a warrior's bones like a stone, heavy and dangerous. Scotland in arms. Scotland in the age of warring thanes and warrior kings was a place where loyalty was the highest virtue and treachery the blackest sin. Macbeth had won his honor on battlefields that still smelled of iron and smoke, driving back English and Norwegian forces until songs were made of his courage. He was Duncan's dependable champion, a man whose blade had steadied a kingdom. When, after one such victory, Macbeth and his companion Banquo encountered 3 strange, haggard figures who greeted Macbeth as future king and Banquo as ancestor to kings, their words lodged like splinters in a mind already primed for glory. What began as a fleeting, uncanny promise would grow into an obsession that swallowed reason and obligation. The prophecy and the murder. All hail, Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter. The witch's greeting cut like an accusation and an invitation at once. Duncan remained king, with heirs of his own, yet the phrase planted a possibility that the mind of a decorated warrior could not easily dismiss. Macbeth's letter to Lady Macbeth transformed private wonder into a domestic crisis. He confessed to the prophecy and his own bewildered longing, and she saw not fate's whim but a task to be completed. She understood Macbeth's strengths and his fatal softness. When Duncan announced he would rest at Macbeth's castle, she seized that moment as their doorway. Macbeth hesitated. Duncan was cousin, guest, sovereign, each tie forbade such betrayal. Lady Macbeth's scorn of his qualms, her cold arithmetic of power and appearances, and her willingness to dirty her hands to ensure success hardened him. When the household slept, Macbeth took the daggers and crossed the corridor to Duncan's chamber. The deed is done, but Macbeth's soul will never recover from this night's work. The act itself was stark and brutal, a throat cut in the dark, the slow spreading of blood over white linen. The physical simplicity of murder belied its spiritual devastation. Macbeth returned disordered and guilt-struck, clutching the instruments of the crime instead of leaving them as the guiltless survivors would do. Lady Macbeth, more composed in her cruelty, smeared the drugged guards with blood to implicate them and returned the weapons herself. Macbeth's cry, "Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand?" was not merely rhetorical, it was an acknowledgement that some stains are not mortal but moral, and no tide can remove them. By morning the castle erupted. Macbeth played the part of the grieving kinsman convincingly. Outrage, a swift and theatrical execution of the supposed murderers, and an outward fury that silenced immediate suspicion. Duncan's sons fled in fear, a motion that the realm read as guilt or cowardice, and by the day's end Macbeth wore the crown.